Good morning, Facebook family and YouTube subscribers. Today is April the 13th. So I was gone for the past 2 weeks on vacation. Well, we went to Fort Lauderdale and took a cruise through the Bahamas, Cozumel, Honduras, Princess Cay Islands in the Bahamas. Where all did we go? So we were on this long cruise. 7 long days out at sea. It was a very nice cruise. I ate a ton of food, and I ate a little bit too much food. It was a nice cruise. I'm not really a cruise person. I think we both agreed that that was the final cruise. We had not been on a cruise in 10 years, and we're not cruising people. So being stuck on that boat all day and night is relaxing and entertaining for a very short period of time. After a while, you start to get a little long in tooth, and you're stuck on the boat. And some people, the total cruise was 14 days. We only did 7 days. So the other people went to the West Bahamas for the next 7 days. We were so glad to get off that damn ship. But we had a nice time. The food was good. It's just I got this really nice tan. So anyway, while I was out of town, it seems like every time I leave town, something takes place. When we went to Jamaica, Eric Garner was choked to death in New York. And when I was getting on the ship, I saw the news report about Walter Scott in South Carolina, a 50-year-old man who was running from the police when he was shot by a police officer and killed in the back. So he was running from the police. The officer shot him 8 times in the back. A 50-year-old man who's barely running. It just left, and he almost, here's the interesting part, he almost got away with it had it not been for a video recording by a young man walking by on his way to work. Saw the incident and pulled out his phone and started recording the incident. And his recording led to the police officer being charged with murder in the shooting death of Walter Scott. I have a lot that I want to say about this. But let's start with Walter Scott's dead. He's not coming back. No matter what they do to the police officer, that man at 50 years old, a father who, it seems as if he jumped out the car running because there was a possible warrant for non-payment of child support. Definitely an offense not worth being gunned down for, but definitely something not worth running from. I think my concern with this whole Walter Scott incident, and very similar to Eric Garner's incident in New York, in certain instances when you come in contact with the police, your behavior may dictate how that outcome, what will become of the situation. Had that man just sat in that car, he was pulled over for it, the officer had Walter Scott, who was pulled over for a busted taillight, sat in that car, he would have learned the warrant wasn't out yet for his arrest for non-payment of child support. It wasn't even out there yet. Or at least the police department hadn't got their hands on it, so it hadn't been processed. So the officer would never have known there was a warrant for his arrest. So he would have more than likely went scot-free and to continue to drive with his busted taillight until you get pulled over by somebody else. I have so many problems with this story. You know you have a warrant for your arrest out for possible non-payment of child support, but when you impossible, you know you ain't paid it. So you know there's a warrant out for your arrest. You're driving around in a car that's not properly registered in your name, you just purchased it. And then you decide to run. Bolt from the police car. Well, he has the car, he knows who you are, or he will know who you are. You left fingerprints in the car. The officer made some very, 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 very bad decisions that day also. When that man ran out that car, and he chased after him, and he used that stun gun, that still didn't stop that man continued to run. He should continue to call for backup. The man was 50 years of age. He was not a track star. He was not no super fast runner. All he had to do was call for backup. He identified the guy. He saw the guy's clothes he had on. He also had a video of him in his patrol car. So they could easily identify who he was, and he had fingerprints he left all over the steering wheel of the car, so they could have dusted for fingerprints. And that would have gave them his true identity. But this officer made a terrible decision. That officer used extreme force, shooting Walter Scott 8 times in the back as he ran. And then he took the stun gun and moved it, changing the crime scene to fit the story that he was going to tell the investigators. 2 people, an officer and Walter Scott, really 3 people, the man who recorded it, all just had a chance in meeting at 9:30 in the morning last Saturday before last. And look at the tragic events that happened. One's in jail charged with murder, where he should be. One's shot and killed and dead over really nothing. Let's just say that he was arrested for child support payments, and he would have been in jail for a few weeks. Maybe somebody could have helped him catch his child support payments up. I don't know. I think I read he was owed $18,000 in back child support payments. These guys need to learn to start using condoms before they bring children into this world. If they don't want to take custody of those children and feed and take care of them, because you will be in court. This man may not have ever been in trouble with the law in his entire life other than this back payments of child support payments. So he decides to run. I still don't understand the logic in running from the police officer. That didn't make any sense because he, in his mind, he thought he can get away. But they still were going to find him. They were going to know who he was. They were going to impound that car. They were going to investigate. They were going to find out who he was, and they were going to get him. Because even if they couldn't, let's say he didn't leave fingerprints in the car. He purchased the car from someone else. They were going to go back to the guy where he purchased the car from, and that guy was going to say, that's who purchased the car, more than likely. An officer could identify who he was. Running was just not a wise option. And it led to his death. His actions, running from that police officer, led to that police officer shooting him and almost getting away with his murder. We've got to start thinking, guys, before we do stuff. We've got to really start taking a close look at our own actions, which causes these problems. All of this could be avoided, and that man would be alive today. The running was crazy, illogical. It almost makes me wonder, was this man on drugs or something? Was he drinking? Was he high? Why would I'm 45 years of age. I just turned 45 a few days ago. I'm not about to run from no police at 45 years of age. I'm not a track star. I don't think I can get away. And I'm not going to risk my life being injured and harmed. You guys have to understand something. Eric Garner died in July of last year. Since Eric Garner's death, there have been 800 deaths in America by the hands of the police officers. Shooting, 800 people have died after coming in contact with police since Eric Garner's death. So something's wrong here. Something needs to change how police handle suspects in situations. 800 people dead in less than a year at the hands of the police. You can Google this information. In fact, I will post the link. Something's wrong here. And the police officers might need better education, better training. And some people don't need to be police officers. Some people do not need to have that badge and gun. And some people are just not suitable to make wise decisions. Some people don't know how to think under pressure. And they do stupid stuff. People make mistakes. And unfortunately, there were several mistakes that were made that day by both men. And none of it should have happened. And all of it could have been avoided. Running from the police it's just not worth it. Had that video not been recorded by that young man who recorded it, a young 22-year-old Dominican Republic guy from Had he not recorded that video, that police officer would have gotten away with that, with Walter Scott's murder. And we have to understand, had he not been there and pulled his cell phone out and recorded this video of that officer shooting Walter Scott, that officer would have got away with it. And that's the tragic, sad story about this. A chance encounter, a busted tail light, has now changed 3 men's lives forever. One's dead, one's on his way to jail for the rest of his life. And the other one's now, the guy who made the recording, he's scared for his own life. And maybe, I don't know, I hope he's okay. I'm pretty sure he will be fine. But it does make you wonder. We just have to keep an eye on him and the situation over the next few weeks as the police officer begins his journey through the court system, as Walter Scott's family begins seeking justice for his murder. Anyway, if you like my videos, please click like, share them with family members and friends. I'm out of here. Enjoy your Monday. And I'm back. I'm out of here. You guys have a great Monday.